Okay, first of all, I want to thank you for being here. Really, I'm a big fan of Gaerea. For me, the album Limbo was the best black metal album of 2020. So congratulations for the release, and congratulations for this upcoming album Mirage, which we are going to talk about today.
Great. So, thank you for having me, man.
For starting, I want to ask you, how was the band born and what does the name Gaerea mean?
The band was born in 2016 with the birth or the release of the first EP, self-titled EP, back in November 2016 as just one-man project. My idea was not to grow to this scale in the beginning, but I guess, that shifted quite a lot since then, and we are now releasing our fourth release, the third full length. So yeah, that shifted quite a lot since the beginning. And since the beginning, I wanted something that didn't mean anything for the outside world, as the name Gaerea, and it would be something that in a long-term scenario people would just recognize as our name. Same thing for the looks, our symbols. It's something that we create from scratch that we hope people can recognize in the near future as Gaerea. Exactly that, what this band means.
I want to ask you about the symbol of the band. What does the symbol of your mask mean? And the symbol on the vocalist microphone in Self's video is the same as the one on the mask? Was different?
It's different. It's a variation from this sigil. This is the Asmodee sigil, something that we kind of resembled on the concept of the first release, but quickly changed. We found our own way, our own concept since the first album, the Untitled Whispers album. But we never quite changed the symbol because, as I said, we want to keep a certain image. We don't want to shift our looks throughout each record because we're still a growing band, and it's also good for us to keep a certain pace, a certain look, and it's our own way to pay homage to our roots, to the very beginning. So that's why we never changed this that you see in my face. As for the sigil, it has a lot of variations, a lot of different aspects, but it's something that we created from scratch. Since this symbol that you see, it's something that I think this is the third variation that we're using for the mic stand or the official symbol. It's the third variation we got so far, and it's something that changes slightly the looks of it, but the core of the symbol, the sigil, remains the same because, as I said, we wanted something that in the long term could only mean this band, and people could look at this symbol, the photos, if they see a photo from our live show and see that mic stand, they can only recognize as us and not another band, which is, it has been working. We are very, very minimalistic. If we take away these two or three symbols, we are a very minimalistic band on live because we don't use a lot of props. We use these symbols and our body language on stage, which can be quite aggressive and powerful at times. But yeah, we wanted something that, as I said, can only mean what we're doing on stage, and people can look at it and resemble that. Yeah, that's Gaerea for sure.
Perfect. Yeah, it's very good. The image of the band is very, for many people, include me, it's very shocking and it's very attractive. Really, the image of the band is good for the music of the band.
Thank you.
My next question is, was the creative process for this album the same as for Limbo, or was it approached differently? Limbo was released in the middle of the pandemic. I imagine it will have been difficult to work under that circumstances.
Well, it's a very different approach. It's not that the pandemic had an impact on the writings of any album, any of the two albums that you mentioned, because Limbo was recorded way before the pandemic, at least a year before. And this album, well, at most it could have the frustration of us not being able to do what keeps us alive, which is play live, tour, travel the world, get to know our fans, our people, and be inspired by it, because we're very much inspired by humans. And Mirage doesn't quite have that, so we had to kind of get inspired within ourselves and rebuild this concept in a more personal way. But yeah, Limbo was written throughout 1 or 2 years. It was written on the road as we were traveling quite a lot in 2019, our first tours. It was everything was new to us in 2019, because it was the year that we started traveling throughout Europe, going to China, going to all of these different cultures and different countries. So we had a very strong connection to the touring cycle for Limbo. But then, well, the pandemic came. It fucked us quite a bit, our plans of touring. It didn't stop us at all, because we tried to be as much active as we could throughout the pandemic. We never stopped working. We never stopped rehearsing. We never stopped creating our videos, or channeling our energies into creating. And that's what we did with Mirage. The frustrating part about Limbo is that Limbo is just getting its touring cycle now. And it's the first time that we can actually play some of those songs live. It's now, this summer. The first tour we were able to do after the pandemic was the UK tour in April. It was the first time we were able to play these songs for a broader spectrum of audience. And it felt amazing. Limbo is about to turn 2 years in a few weeks, or in a week or something. It was released in the 20th of July, 2 years ago. But it still seems like it was yesterday, because we didn't explore a lot live with that album. So even though that we're already performing one song live from the Mirage album, and we are about to release a second one, and we will add these songs to the live set, most of the set will still be the Limbo album. So all the other releases will start to fade away a bit on our set list, and the Limbo will still remain as a very strong catapult, or a strong with a very strong presence in our live set, because it still makes a lot of sense. We didn't explore much with it. So yeah, they are very different albums with very different inspirations, but they will have to connect very well. They have to connect on a live set situation.
Yeah, presently talking about the live presentations and shows, I want to ask you, how was the experience of playing the Hellfest? This time there in the lineup was more than 300 bands. Was crazy.
Yeah, it's such a massive festival, man. We were there for the second weekend, and everything felt so fresh. The organization is amazing. Everything about that festival is absolutely fantastic. We were so well taken care of, even though we are just one very small band on that bill. We felt like everyone was caring for us, and that's what we love. So yeah, nothing to complain about Hellfest, just good and amazing things to say about such a massive and important festival for us.
And did you have any band favorite in this lineup of the Hellfest? Do you have the opportunity of see some of the bands?
Yeah, we were there just for a day, but we were very fortunate to play at the same stage and same day as Moonspell, our fellow countrymen. It was very good to meet with them. We are very good friends with them already, and it was just great to see so many familiar faces. And of course, a lot of other bands like Benighted, Creator. Fuck man, it's so many bands that played just on that day.
Yeah, it was insane.
I remember we were the last show of that night was just amazing. It was Decapitated.
Yeah.
Fuck man, it's so many bands and so many awesome
Did you
artists.
see Wotan? Wotan for me is one of my favorite black metal bands. I had the opportunity of see the live stream in a YouTube channel, and was amazing the performance of the band.
Yeah, they're amazing. It's one of my favorite bands as well. Yeah, but I think they played at the first weekend. It was 2 weekends of Hellfest, and we were there for the second, so we didn't actually catch them. But I guess we will have that opportunity in Latin America in a few months, because we're doing a few shows with them in Mexico. So I'm really looking forward to that.
Yeah, in Latin America. You come this year.
Yeah.
What expectations do you have about this upcoming tour? I will surely go see you.
Oh, great. Well, it's one of those things that you really want to make once in your lifetime as a band. And we're finally fortunate to do this with a very good agency, very good promoters. Everything seems to be very well organized so far. We are working with some of the bests, and I'm just sure that we will feel home in all the countries we will perform in Latin America. It's just this dream come true to go to that side of the planet and do what we love to do the most. And it just feels fucking unreal to do that for the first time. And we will for sure do the best we can to be on that level, because we know we have a lot of fans there and our community is growing in Latin America. But we want to be, well, on the best and top notch that we can be, so that people will resemble what they see on this side of the planet in Europe. And yeah, we'll be prepared, and we will for sure take no prisoners on that tour. We will do some of our absolute best performances, and with stage performance. We are thinking about creating special things for that tour, and I'm just really looking forward to meet everybody that will come to the shows.
When you are in Argentina, I recommend you eat the meat of Argentina. It's great. I can imagine that you like it. The barbecue of Argentina. It's very particular.
For sure. We have, well, I'm sure it's not even similar, but I've tried it already in some other parts, but never in Argentina or never in Brazil. So we'll for sure take our time to digest local food, because, well, we are Portuguese men and we love our gastronomy and we love to try new things. So it's one of the big reasons we want to go there, for sure.
Perfect. Now about the album, again, another place presently where we see the symbol of Gaerea is on the cover of Gaerea's new album, but in gold. And I would like to ask you, what does the cover and the album title represent? Is there a common thread between these two things and the lyrics of the album?
Mirage is an album that explores the big war between perception and reality. What we perceive as something beautiful might be rotten on the inside. And being very direct into the concept, it's just about that. What you perceive as a golden statue might be rotten on the inside. And we struggle a lot with that concept these days of perception, what seems to be perfect, the perfect life, and as human beings in this world, we're always looking upon others and having false idols and people that we idolate so much, even though we will never be able to reach them or talk to them. It's how we function these days. And it has a lot to do with that, with the creation process, the thought process of an album, and what we perceive as something majestic sometimes might not be the case beneath the mask. And that's the main reason why we have a golden look into this album, not because it's shiny or because it's striking, of course it is, but because we as artists know what's inside that album and the pain and agony that stands beneath it. So it's an invitation for people to read our lyrics, read our texts, and understand what kind of abyss lies inside that record. It's an invitation letter. It's like a beautiful cover of a book that you see, and you kind of guess what's inside, but the result might differ a lot. So that's Mirage for you.
Perfect. And how do you get inspiration to create your lyrics?
Oh, a lot. As I said, we're mostly inspired by humans and people that we meet in our daily lives. But of course, there's writers such as Thomas Ligotti or José Saramago. There's so many references that I could mention. But mostly on the Mirage record, every song is about a specific life, a specific human being. And all of these people we met. It's people that we encountered throughout the tours, throughout these past 2 years, where we just acted as observers in this life, because we couldn't do much, we couldn't tour, we couldn't interact much with people. So I kind of felt like an observer, someone that would just sit in my chair and watch the world move and burn and see people going crazy with all the different topics in their daily lives. So yeah, I would say we would have way more inspirations from authors on the other records, but Mirage is for sure the most intimate thought process we ever did, because it's about people that we met. It has, of course, a lot of fiction, a lot of thoughts underneath it. It's not a documentary album for sure, but it's about getting to know these people enough for you to create something about them. And that's what we did with this album. We are very much inspired by human beings. As much as we hate them, we love them, and the opposite. As much as we love them, we also have to hate them, because everyone has problems, I guess.
Yes. And do you have any favorite song from this album?
Oh man, that's a very unfair question. I would say there are songs that will definitely make it to the live performances, and one of them we already released, the Salve song. It's about going crazy for an audience that's not there. So that's the main reason we thought that would be the best first single, and because it's probably one of the most aggressive and gutting songs we ever wrote. And of course there are songs like Memoir or The Mantle or Lauda, which is it's the only song we ever did that it's about us as a band and about our past experiences. So yeah, we could use all of this album to perform live, but we can't of course do that. Even though it's an album that we always thought would be perfect for a tour where we could play everything front to back, very passionately and easy for us because it was built with that kind of groove feeling of a live performance. It's not a complicated record by all means to the people that already know us. It's a more explosive, intense, and agonizing record for sure. Very gutting in some ways. But yeah, well, I couldn't pick a favorite for sure. But I know that there are 3 or 4 songs that will be on our set lists for a good amount of years.
And with this new album, the band already has 2 studio albums in Season of Mist. I would like to ask you, how is the relationship between the band and the label? How is working with Season of Mist?
Oh, it's absolutely amazing. We have very good friendships inside this label. We talk to them every day. We bring ideas and they bring ideas back to us every day. And it's the best fucking family we would have the pleasure to have, from our US publicists to the EU publicists to the people at the warehouse that treat us so fucking well. It's just amazing to work with people that are so passionate about music, and that will always be the case for us. We want to work with passionate people, and we are surrounded by them. As far as I'm concerned, this is our home now, and I wouldn't ever think of leaving or going to another record label, because we are so fucking satisfied with these people, and they are happy with us, and we work so damn well together that there's no fucking point in leaving. It's like a family now for us. So yeah, that's been amazing with them.
Yeah. I had contact with them, and yeah, it's a very big family. They are very friendly.
For sure.
So, and my next question is, how, where, and how long was the video film?
How much time did it take, you mean?
Yes, and where? Was in Portugal?
Yeah, the Salve video was shot in Portugal in March this year, so very close in the timeline for us. It's a big endeavor for us to step up to that level of production, but we kind of had to, because that song would ask for that kind of commitment from our side. But yeah, everything was shot in a big warehouse in the middle of nowhere in Portugal. We had a massive team working with us, light-wise, fire-wise. It was a massive production for us, of course, which we never did something similar about. So yeah, from this old warehouse, we built a very big black box with the LED wall, with the fire, everything very well planned throughout a month or 2. So we started the pre-production around January or February or something, and it kind of fell into place on a full day of shooting. Everyone was well prepared, everyone knew what they had to do, and we could have fun with this amazing team we worked with, and everything was just smooth, professional, just the way we like it to be.
Perfect. Recently you talking about Monster. I want to ask you, what is your opinion about the black metal scene in Portugal? Do you listen to many bands from your country?
We do listen to a lot of Portuguese metal. I think we are one of the countries that has more bands per capita. Every person in the audience of a Portuguese show has at least 2 or 3 bands, but that doesn't make any strong impact if you don't work for any kind of well, I hate the word, but success, or to be respected in this genre, because it involves a lot of fucking work. So yeah, we have a lot of bands we like. We have a lot of black metal bands we like. I don't think the black metal scene in Portugal is blooming as much as it was in the 90s. We are one of the few new bands out there in this country in terms of black metal, which is actually being consistent, playing shows, recording albums. There are still a lot of fantastic bands from the 90s and the beginning of the 2000s that are making good records and still trying to tour. But yeah, I would say Portugal is not a country of big sacrifices when it comes to art. I would put it like that, where everything is very fresh and very aggressive and very much alive in the beginning of a band. But then life happens, life changes. People have their jobs, people have their families, people have to buy that house or have kids or whatever people choose to do. And that's not always very, it doesn't stick well with this kind of life. You know that you have to sacrifice a whole lot in your life in order to make it, well, to make it happen. At least it's how I see it. Me and these guys, we sacrifice a lot in our lives in order to make this happen. We leave our works behind, or we have to have different kinds of works in order to be able to be so much time on the road. We have to sacrifice a lot of our relationships with friends and wives or girlfriends in order to make this happen, because, you know, it's difficult.
It's difficult, yes.
You stay a lot of time outside of the country, and everything remains in pause, like a game. And when you come back, everything has to restart again. You're not building a whole lot more in your life rather than the band. And again, it's something that not a lot of people are prepared to do in their lives. This is a choice for life, and if you want to do it, you have to sacrifice pretty much everything in order to make this happen.
Yeah. Congratulations, man. Congratulations, because this is happened. You are in all the world. So it was worth it. It was worth it.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
My next question is, what advice will you give to a band that is just starting out in the industry?
Well, first, just make music for yourself, not for the rest of the band or the rest of the world to enjoy. That would be my first advice for everyone just starting to make art. It can be a painting, it can be a short movie, it can be whatever the fuck you choose to do with your art. It can be your first poem or your first book. Just do it for yourself and to please you, because creating art for me is a very selfish way of putting your soul out there. And whenever you do it with passion and work, the rest will come very slowly, very slowly. But it will come, because people can recognize what takes time, energy, and effort from other people. So that would be one advice, and the other one would be to, well, not expect to have all the goals you have traced in your life achieved if you want to do this. If art is your primary goal in life and what makes you happy, and if it is what makes you breathe, well, you should be ready to sacrifice a lot, a whole lot, and just put yourself out there, suffer a bit, and well, let others take it. But I don't see, or at least I don't have the experience of achieving all my goals too soon, or even expecting to have the perfect middle class life. When you do something like this, you got to do it for yourself. And my life and these guys' lives depend on what we do for our art, rather be in this band or other bands we might have. We do it with passion, and that's the most important thing about when you're creating something or starting to create something. That's the only thing that means in the end. It's the passion and thrive you have for it.
Perfect. Okay, my friend, that was all for today. I hope you had a good time with me, because for me it was a pleasure, really.
Thank you, man. Thank you so much.
I hope to see you this live this year in Latin America, and I wish you a lot of success, really.
Thank you. See you in Argentina
Yes,
in December or November, I think. And
yes.
yeah, we'll catch a few beers there. Thank you. Thank you for having me, man.
Thanks to you. See you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.